I think it's time to talk about some of the oligarchs that are running the show. I call it our first American Reich. The one that I've been raving about for the last week is somebody that most people don't know his name. His name is Peter Thiel. I call him Trump's techno-fascist. And that's not an exaggeration, even
Mhm.
by his own words. He says, virtually in in his own words, he says that he believes democracy doesn't work and we would be much better off, a happier people, if we let the technocrats run things.
Oh, he has in mind who could make it work better,
He
and he.
wants himself and Elon Musk and the people in Silicon Valley. They are smart. They know the
Hmm.
answers. We,
Little
the
people.
riffraff, the
Yeah,
people that vote,
yeah.
are so fickle. Oh, he's
Hmm.
right. We are, but that's the way democracy works. But you got to have somebody running the show. I mean, you could talk all day about how his theory doesn't work, but he's behind the scenes. He is getting close to running the show himself. He is in charge of a company. He owns a company called Palantir. I had some stock in Palantir, and then when I realized he was the head of it, I sold my stock. By the way, I made a little money. But I didn't realize he was the guy. I read a book on him a couple of years ago.
Yeah.
Anyway, he is the company. His is the company that is behind the effort to put together
Data
a
mine,
there
everybody.
you go.
Yeah,
It's a data company. Palantir is a
yeah.
data company. And they are going to put together what amounts to a dossier on each and every one of us. If you pay taxes, if you're a veteran, if you go to the doctor, you have some records there. They're going to put all those
Well,
records together,
your social media history, your purchases,
all of it, all of
your
it.
the interest rate you're paying on your mortgage.
If they can
Uh,
put all of that together, they have a complete picture, pretty nice picture on
mhm,
who you are. And all, if they want to get you, all they have to do is go to that, punch a button, as I
mhm,
understand it,
mhm.
and it will get them there. And we should be very, very afraid. This is what Edward Snowden was warning us about 12,
Yeah,
15 years ago.
yeah,
Uh,
yeah.
and you just remember his name, Peter Thiel. He is behind the scenes, but he is the techno fascist of the Trump administration. And of course, I believe that they will use people like Trump
Oh, of course.
as figureheads that they can push around, that they can regulate.
Trump, it can be flattered, and Trump knows one language, and that's money. And these guys throw around their money, and they get where they get because of Trump's, simple view of the world.
And you have two approaches. Trump is,
Well,
I mean, Musk is one who's out there making noise all the time. Thiel is more dangerous because behind the scenes, he's having more of an impact.
I watched a YouTube documentary on the, and I don't know like how their algorithm works, but these things pop up for me on the oligarchs and the history of the oligarchs. And it never ends well for those guys in Russia. These are the Russian
Hmm.
oligarchs.
Hmm.
Never ends well for these guys. These are some of the richest men in the world. They took advantage of things, of course, when the Soviet Union fell and it was the Wild West out there, and they started seizing pieces of their industries and their oil and aluminum and all of they're smart guys, smart dudes. But and then they propped up and allowed the genius of Putin was he allowed these guys to do that under one condition. You have to listen to me. You have to cut me in on the deal first of all. And he didn't put up with them having second thoughts or their own
No,
views
a
on
good
things, and
good
he
example is
whacked them.
Trump, who's appointed all these judges,
Hmm.
and
Hmm.
now he is saying they're just scum
They're
because
they're
because
radicals.
they
Yeah, of
disagreed with him
course.
on interpretation of the Constitution.
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah.
this is so obvious, but either people don't care, which I'm leaning toward that explanation now, or don't understand or don't pay any attention to. All of those probably.
Well, but the thing with these oligarch guys, what Teal needs to and these guys are such ego maniacs, narcissists that they don't understand that they aren't. This isn't going to last forever. It's going to end poorly for them.
Well, they always think they have new ideas. You wait 40 or 50 years, you come back. It's really the same idea as Hitler, only repackaged in
Yeah,
a
of course.
pretty new bundle. By the way, Thiel and Musk both were instrumental in starting PayPal.
PayPal.
They're the ones
Yeah,
that
yeah,
originate, they come out of Stanford University
yeah.
and
Silicon Valley guys.
in
Yeah.
Silicon Valley. And they really believe they'll make life better for everybody. There is even one, I don't know his name, but one guy in Silicon Valley who believes he can put us on other planets and we can basically live forever.
Yeah.
That's too much education.
Yeah, well, they're believing that maybe they're on
Man, some of the
ketamine, and some of the drugs
oh,
that Musk is on.
nice
Night,
segue.
you like that? See, I learned
Uh-huh.
from the master on that.
We talked about this. We do want to mention the druggie in charge of
Well,
Doggy.
I called you the other morning, Wednesday of this week, and said, look at the New York Times.
Hmm.
There's a story on Musk and his drug use and whatnot, and it's resonating. It's
Oh
causing a
man.
lot of ripples, and
And you
Musk.
see him in a whole different way.
Mhm.
You
Musk
see,
himself.
well, I mean, you see his appearances, and then you say, okay, yeah, that guy's high. When he was appeared with Trump the other day on his going away party, he was,
Hmm.
his head was. I don't know how much they altered that, or these days it's hard to tell, but he looked like he didn't know exactly where he was, and
That's
his
true.
eyes were rolled back in his head. And when you put that together on the same day the New York Times piece came out,
Yeah,
and you think,
if you look at his there's some videos making the rounds online, and while Trump's talking,
oh yeah,
he's rolling his
oh,
eyes, and he's kind of glitching, and
uh-huh.
I mean the guy's a junkie, as it turns out, and apparently he's taking ketamine daily, and he even acknowledged in that story, apparently admitted to people that he's
Well,
having bladder problems, which is a side effect
now
apparently.
he says that's just bullshit. That the
Oh,
New
New
York
York Times
Times.
is lying, fake news.
Hmm.
Yeah, that, but that's just noise now. You know
Hmm.
what? You can't use that. Trump has ruined that whole thing. Nobody buys that anymore, fake news
Yeah.
stuff, And you notice anytime Trump gets a question at one of his that he doesn't like at one of his news conferences, who you with? Oh, that's a
Yeah.
fake news story.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, shut up.
That
Just
is such an old technique that I thought was discredited a long
we've,
time ago. You always blame the source. Look,
of
if a
course.
source comes out, if Fox News comes out and says something that I've said, the most important thing to find out first is, okay, that's Fox News. Is it true?
Hmm. Right.
Is it true what I said? Whether it's Fox News, New York Times, whoever it is, what about the essence of
What
the
about this?
story?
Right. What about the substance of the issue
Yeah.
instead of the messenger? But that's like you said, that's old as time. We don't. It doesn't work anymore. You got to move on to something else.
Well, apparently it does. Look who's president.
Well, it works with a certain group, and
Well,
and if
they
the
represent millions and
yeah,
millions
of
of.
course, but
Uh,
we represent more. It's just a matter of apathy and whether
and paying attention. We got to get our people out. This is a crisis. We've got to
it's
keep
got to hurt
reminding
it.
ourselves of that.
It's got to hurt enough to where we take it to the streets, figuratively or literally speaking, and we do something about it. Do something. What are you gonna do about it? Bitching and moaning all the time is one thing, and that's important
Mm-hmm.
to make yourself heard, but you got to do something about it.
How about
We
new
can't let
slogan?
this happen.
New slogan.
Yeah,
Down with the Reich.
down with the Reich. I like it. Yeah.
Down with the first American Reich. Just down with the Reich. It's easy. I'm going to make a sign for the next
Hmm.
protest I go to.
Yeah. Yeah. And is it still okay to punch Nazis? Remember when that was going around? It's okay to punch a Nazi. That was a big
I
thing.
didn't. I didn't know that. No, I would not recommend that. I don't
You
want to
know
give
what
them
I
any excuse.
You know what I really another topic maybe for another day, but it just disgusts me and angers me to no end. It's these ICE assholes running around with
No
masks on,
kidding.
with
No
their
kidding.
masks on.
Absolutely. Yeah, we're
Those
out of we probably should end this because
oh
we can only ask people to tolerate us for so long.
for so long. All right,
Yeah.
we're done. Have a good day.